We're live.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I think.
Are we live? Let's get a confirmation that we're live here. Let's get a confirmation.
I definitely. We're live. We're definitely live.
Okay, yeah, it says episode 5, A Spark. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Respect Podcast. My name is Mackie, and enjoying alongside me tonight. Unfortunately, we do not have Alex with us, but we have, of course, Justin. How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Back in the W column. I'm happy this week. I think the Habs showed a lot more of who they're supposed to be this week, so I'm happy. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Had some sushi tonight, so feeling a bit full, and yeah, happy. How about you?
You know what's crazy? I had sushi as well. I was digging the sushi vibes, and you know, a little nigiri, a little maki. There you go. That's a little bit about me.
That's the worst
what
type
else
of sushi,
did I have?
to be quite honest. But
hey, let's relax, okay? But yes, the Montreal Canadiens. Holy crap, ladies and gentlemen! What a feeling, eh? A big win against the Calgary Flames, coming in red hot. No pun intended. The pun is intended. I don't understand why people say no pun intended, to be honest. And it's a huge boost for not only the fans. You get to see Nick Suzuki, that's just vibing right now. I don't know the exact point total, Justin. If you had, I think you had it right before we went live.
He has 14 points in 15 games, which is, he's on pace for 80 points. Let's not make a big deal out of it, but it's
no biggie.
Yeah,
no biggie. First line center potential, right? But all this to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you are joining us live, if you're listening back at home, a huge thank you for joining us and for listening. Again, it's kind of been we're a little bit delayed in this week in terms of what we wanted to do for the podcast, just for scheduling reasons, and even tonight we didn't get Alex on board, so we're coming to you a little bit late, but it's good because we got the win against Calgary. But there's been some kind of momentum that has been stirring up for the Montreal Canadiens this week. It's as simple as that. They started against Vegas, a win that we should have had and that escaped us. There was, though, that spark. It started there, I think, you know, where the foundation of their game starts to come in, and you start to be like, okay, this is a little bit of the Montreal Canadiens that we saw in the playoff run. We're not quite there yet. Obviously, there's a huge, roster depletion right now within injuries. The good news, Carey Price back with the team. He released a statement this week. We can get into that because I don't have the statement in front of it, and I want to do it justice. But he took, again, as a real leader does, and a role model for a lot of people out there, this week he takes the charge and opens up about the struggles of his substance abuse. We don't know what the details are, and we're going to respect that. But again, that's a huge step for the individual. And as Habs fans, we always loved Carey Price, and we're just wishing the best. So great to see that.
And shows a great example for other players too that have issues, because we've known in the past we've found out kind of through. Like in bad ways in the past that people have substance use problems, and yeah, it's good to have this kind of big player come out and be public with his problems. Yeah, so it's good for everyone.
Yeah, and it's and a lot of people spoke about him being just around the group. He's a huge leader, and of course they're talking about the individual first and foremost, and the hockey player, and that's what matters in these cases, right? So coming into tonight, doing this podcast, we're missing Alex, as we mentioned, but we're gonna. I don't know if we're gonna get struck in terms of copyrights, but we're gonna give it a try. We're gonna some sounds brought to you by Sportsnet. I don't know if I'm allowed to even say this. If we get banned, we get banned. We try. We're just trying to bring you guys some good content. So here we go. I'm gonna. I don't know how to do this. Let me know if you hear my audio. Okay. I'm gonna do this, and let's get some game sounds. All right. Go. Starting off.
There's Lewis, takes a look. It's going to tip the broad, a redirection by
It sounds terrible.
Standing right in front.
It does?
Set up
Yes.
nicely for you.
We're trying our best.
This is just get the puck to the point. David Savard one more time.
I think you should turn it off. It sounds awful. It sounds like
sure it's
someone
not just
stuck
a
in a
Discord?
refrigerator yelling about a hockey game.
All right. Okay.
If you
Well,
send me the
tried.
link, I can play it through mine and probably be a bit better.
Okay.
But then you
Or
wouldn't
I'll
be able
send
to
you the
hear it,
link.
so I don't know.
Okay. I don't. You know what? We tried it. I also think that you have a distinguished taste for like quality of sound, so I think it might have been passable, but we'll see. You guys let us know.
You'll find out how bad it was, Mac. You'll see.
Okay. All right. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. I trust you. All right. So, anyways, for those of you who are joining us on YouTube right now, thank you so much. Don't be shy. We're coming off a big W here against the Calgary Flames, and this was a gutsy win. Okay. This is one of those wins where, it showed the character. And that's what I liked, okay? When you come into this type of game after the amount of, the record that we have, we still have Michael Jordan in the meme section of our Habs logo on our template here. But when you come into a game with a big-time opponent that's coming in red hot, it's easy as soon as they score the first goal, early on in the first period. That's where I was like, okay, let's see how the Habs react. And the good news is the Montreal Canadiens reacted the right way. So I don't know what it is. It started, though, I think, in the Vegas game this past week, where the Montreal Canadiens really do, start playing the right type of hockey. They're not getting the results. But before that game, I think we can all agree as Habs fans, is that it was not that type of hockey that is either on brand or at the level that it should be to be, getting results. So
Yeah.
I don't know your thoughts on how you see the Habs reacting to this one.
Yeah, definitely this game, and I think all three games this week were really a step in the right direction. Like we had a concerted effort for all three games. I thought for 60 minutes. The Vegas game, maybe the second period was a bit of a disaster, but that was, it happens, I guess. But even the Vegas game, like, we did put pressure in the third period. We had a chance to come back in that game. Robin Leonard kind of shut the door. But yeah, the LA game I thought was one of our best games of the season so far, and then the game tonight against Calgary was also one of our best games. So great to see this week that we're starting to really put stuff together. Like you said, we didn't get the results, but we got half the points we could have out of 3 games. So that's something in the positive column. That's a 500 week. That's like the first 500 week we could say in this season. So yeah, and just about this game in particular, we did go down twice this game. So it was great to see that we came back and we were resilient. Nick Suzuki had an insane game. Scored a great goal, just banking it off the pad there. I think I just read a quote that Jacob Markstrom told him after he tried the first time to bank it off him that he wouldn't score. It wasn't going to work. But then he did score moments later, and Markstrom gave him a little tap a few shifts later. So
Was
Nick
it a
Suzuki
negative
getting
tap?
some
Is it a
respect,
positive tap?
getting some respect in the game.
You think it was a respectful tap, or was it a negative tap? Like, hey, you showed me up, so I'm going to give you a little whack. Which one was it?
I mean, it could have been both.
To
I
be
thought it would be,
confirmed.
I envisioned it being a respectful tap. Like, okay,
I do too.
you were
I do
right
too.
here. The Swedes are good people. They're not a
They are.
They're not a vengeful type of people.
Revengeful. I like that word.
Revengeful.
I like it. Oh man, I want to welcome aboard Elias Dracos, who's joining us on YouTube. Welcome,
Tikanis.
Elias. Of course, he's been a long-time listener, a guy that comments on our YouTube page quite a bit. So thank you, Elias. What he says is great comeback win tonight, well deserved, and Paling and Dvorak were amazing in the face-off dot. That's an important detail that we should mention. Is that Ryan Paling? Thank you for the comment, by the way, Elias. But Ryan Paling making his season debut after after a bit of a rougher camp, one that he would have liked to, maybe do over. But the one thing that he was talking about today with the media, apart from the fact that he takes the metro from Laval to get to the Bell Center, which is pretty hilarious. That's the Orange Line for those of you guys. Yeah, exactly. One of us. But yeah, so the Orange Line, if ever you're going to Laval and going from the Place Belle to the Bell Center, it's just an Orange Line away in the STM Metro. So, jokes aside, Ryan Poehling had a good night tonight. It wasn't like the most flashy night, but I felt he was solid both ways. Like, again, it's not the most easy thing to just get jumped into the NHL environment, especially you want to prove something. And I think he did really well. I can't say that he completely stood out. There was one shift where I saw him with Belzile and Pezzetta, and to be honest, it's not like Ryan Poehling was surrounded by NHL talent, because Belzile and Pezzetta themselves are mainly Rocket players. So it's interesting to be able to see that from Ryan Poehling tonight. And again, another positive that we want to stir, because this is what we're about here at the No Respect Podcast. It's really about positivity. And we've got to be honest with each other, is that at the beginning of the year, we weren't even seeing signs of positivity. Like, even though we weren't getting the results this week, this is why there's a little bit of a change in the dynamic right now. There's a little bit of that juice, and juice is important. There's vitamins, you get your minerals from juice. Okay, it hydrates you, but it gives you sugar. Okay, the sweetness, the nectar that we need from the Montreal Canadiens. Your thoughts on Ryan Poehling tonight? Weird segue.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I honestly didn't get to see much of him. I kind of listened to most of the games, so I didn't see too much. But yeah, hope to see him more, and hope he does better. But yeah, I don't think we should expect too much, because it is a kind of Laval Rocket fourth line. But then again, they might have some untapped chemistry that's there from the Laval Rocket. So who knows? Maybe maybe we'll see more from Ryan Poehling. And we'll have to, because I think Cedric Paquet's out for at least 2 weeks or so. So unless Perreault comes back to be our 4C, then he's going to be our 4C for now.
Listen, I might be making excuses and stuff like that, but what I love, is the fact that at this stage there's so many. I'm playing my audio. Which audio am I playing?
There was a video going in the background while you were talking there. Yeah.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Okay.
But yeah, so all I was gonna say is that it's crazy, because when you look at the roster and the depletion of the roster, I find it great that the Montreal Canadiens are still trying to battle, and although it's been later, I won't hide that they should have woken up about 5 games deep into the season, and now that we're in game 15 here, it's or 16, I don't know if it's been updated, but yeah, point being is that it's good to see that even with all of these injuries and stuff like that, because Jonathan Drouin is out, and he had a great start to the season, and he's out with not a concussion from what I gather, but something. So it's great to see. The other thing that I actually wanted to mention, and this is a shout out that I wanted to make, it's our great listener Mark Anthony, who's from Toronto, who actually went to the game. I believe it was the Detroit game on Tuesday, which was 2 weeks ago, before the Islanders, right? So all of that to say is that Mark had a great time, and it was for his birthday, so shout out to you, Mark, if you're listening. Anyway, all of that to say is that the Montreal Canadiens, ever since Mark came to town, have started something. There's something that Mark brought that has brought on these Montreal Canadiens, the juice that I've been talking about. So yeah, what have you seen? What's the biggest difference, you think?
I think it's just the effort level for 60 minutes. Like, it feels like we just fell out of games so easily in the past, and felt like we're more resilient now. We're just, it sounds stupid, but we're trying harder. Like, we're just there, and we're having an effort for 60 minutes. And another thing is we're getting some scoring from our players. Like, we were kind of relying on only Mike Hoffman for a little while. That lasted about 3-4 games, but yeah, I mean, Nick Suzuki's heated up a ton. A bunch of like Gallagher scored tonight, which was great to see. I think Gallagher scored another couple games ago. So yeah, I mean, all around good performance. Also, the D I feel has been a bit better in the past 3 games.
Sherratt.
Yeah, Ben Sherratt. Okay, first of all, Ben Sherratt is the fucking. He's the top scorer well, he's tied, but for defenseman in the league right now.
It's nuts, dude. Nuts.
Ben Sherratt. But I can't really say that Ben Sherratt's defensive game has been as impactful as his offensive game. Well, his scoring, I guess. But yeah, in recent times, I felt like they've picked it up, and in the last 3 or so games, they've been a bit better. The Vegas game, maybe it was a bit shaky there, but yeah, I think it's more about effort level though. In overall.
Yeah, I think there is an element of chemistry as well that's starting to develop. But again, like there was roster turnover, and obviously it hasn't been perfect. Like we're talking about all of this, and it's only been 1 win against the Calgary Flames. So that's the reality of it.
The season's back. We turned around.
I mean, that's how we are. Okay, it's been 1 game, and it's enough for us to be back on the bandwagon. We never left the bandwagon. We're just hanging on. Okay, maybe in the back there, like by a thread, and that's good enough for us, man, because we're always next to the bandwagon. Okay, we're always on it, and if you want to join us, please do. But yeah, I mean, the main thing that I like is that I see Romanov coming into his own a little bit more, playing with a little bit more of that physicality. I'd like to shout out some of our friends that are in our Discord. If you'd like to join, please do. I'm going to try to post it in the or actually, do you have the link, Justin, that you can post?
Yeah, I'll post it in the chat.
Yeah, great. But yes, again, shout out to Corporate Gamer. We've got Carl Proshowski, some of our more vocal guys on there, and as well we have Hockey Junkie. If you don't know Hockey Junkie, he's got a channel of his own, and you got to go check that out. He's hilarious. He does NHL kind of content where NHL gameplay that you can go and watch him and speak. He's hilarious, dude. So talks about the Habs, covers them. So shout out to Hockey Junkie for that. And again, we're still in the early stages, but if you guys want to join us in the Discord, please do. We're gonna be shouting you out if you are in it. So, and if you're active, so it's great for us. Gives us content to talk about. And the next step in these live shows that we're doing, because we're going to live angle. We spoke about it last time, but the live angle adds an element of excitement, a little bit of stress, of course, because you're live, right? Justin, you feel stressed right now?
Very. My heart is beating.
Very. Yeah, it does beat. That's what it does.
Usually it doesn't.
No, but yeah. I think we're just we like the energy that comes off of it, and obviously it's 10:30 on a Thursday night. We're doing this because we're late, so we're trying to be as consistent as we can per week. So we apologize if it's a bit more lower energy tonight, but it doesn't mean that it will always be that way, ladies and gentlemen. So that being said. Coming back to the Montreal Canadiens, speaking about Romanov, number 27, that Tsar.
What a hit, too, in the LA game against, who was it? Who did he hit? Rasmus Kupari? That's it?
That's it. There you go. You got the name right on the noggin.
He got tossed into the boards there.
Twist. Yeah. However, Dustin Brown did hit Nick Suzuki pretty hard, but Nick Suzuki unfazed after that hit, apparently.
Nick Suzuki got up like a warrior, though. That was awesome.
Thick Nick.
Thick Nick.
Okay. Thick Nick.
There's Slick Nick, and then there's Thick Nick.
Yes, that's right. We've got Morgan Burton that joins us on the live show on YouTube. Morgan, welcome back. Remember you from the playoffs. And yeah, we actually did speak about Brendan Gallagher right before. It was he was the spark tonight. Getting that goal, showing up as the unofficial captain. There's maybe a few of those guys that you can point out when it comes to that, but I think that Brendan Gallagher takes the cake in terms of the veteran leadership, who he is, and the legacy that he has within this organization, and he showed up. So it was great to see that, and getting in the mix of it, was it Eric Gudbranson that hit him after the goal or whatever?
Yeah.
Tyler Toffoli answering back. You love to see these things. You really do. It just shows that level of camaraderie. You know what I mean?
Did you think that it was fair, the penalty calls on that? It ended up being equal calls, right? It was a 2 on each side, 4 on 4.
Yeah,
no.
Was it?
No, it was 4 on 4.
Listen, if we had lost, I'd be out of my mind pissed off. But because we won, I'm not too mad. And the Michael Pezzetta penalty, that was garbage, dude. The guy was like 4 on 1. Yes, he shoved. But I've shoved, you know what I mean? Like, you've shoved, right? Everybody's shoved, guys, okay? Like, that's not a 2 minutes. That's not a 2-minute penalty. Let's not kid ourselves, okay? But I'm going to let it pass because we got the W, okay?
Yep.
Slick Nick, a little, between the pads there on the skate, whatever you want to call it. He's slick as shit, okay?
And if you're gonna have a questionable call, it's good to have it right after scoring a goal. So it softened the blow, I guess. But I would have liked to see him get at least maybe a 2-2 roughing and like unsportsmanlike or something. But I don't know. Some Flames fans are saying that he didn't know that he scored and it's a fast game and all that bullshit. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's we are biased. Okay, I want to join. We were speaking about you, Mark. Okay, we were just talking about your experience at the Bell Center, briefly. So you started something. I just wanted to say. Mark says, hopefully we're seeing some chemistry come to life. Would be happy to see the boys continue on like this, even if it's a 2-1 loss. Definitely not because of me, though. I do think it's because of you. All right,
it is because of you.
We've got Steven Saint joining us as well in this live show. Steven, how are you? Suzuki is playing absolutely insane. Completely agree, dude. He's been the best player on the ice for the last how many games now? I'd like to say since the Anaheim one, where he called himself out. Was that the game where he was like, I need to be the go-to guy? And ever since, the guy has just been on fire. You love to see that. And this is what the Habs need. I come back to this point. Everybody knows it. It's relatively obvious. It's not an original thought. It might be, okay? This is how it works. But all I'm saying is that you need a centerman that is going to lead the example for your offense. When were the Habs successful? Max Domi, 72-point year, right? Phil Deneau right behind him that year. Okay.
I mean, they made the playoffs when he got 72 points, but
yeah, but it was a record in terms of the highest amount of total points. So I know my recent Canadiens history.
But
okay, all right. So you know what? Okay. I had another example that was locked in, dude. I was locked in, but you kind of derailed me. But it's okay. All this to say is that this is how it works for offense. Okay, your center ice is the most important position. It's as simple as that, and it influences people. You know, the center ice, it influences every portion of the ice so critically. When you're the D-man and you don't have a center ice outlet pass, or you're on the boards and you don't have a center ice outlet pass, you control the game through the center. You have the left and the right option when you're in the center, and you control that area confidently. And that's what the center ice position does. You're controlling the game, and if you're making big mistakes there, it's going to cost you. We forgot to talk about Jake Evans' sick goal, but yeah, what do you think about Nick Suzuki right now? What's the biggest difference?
Well, I think it's just having fun out there. Like he's not trying to do too much. He's being creative. Like the goal he scored, you don't score that if you're not feeling it. If you don't feel confident in yourself. And I saw it in a couple games. I don't remember which game, but he's been trying like a few sick dekes, like a 1-on-2 play and stuff like that. Like stuff you didn't see at the beginning of the season because he was still getting into himself. He was still finding his game. But yeah, that's when I think Nick Suzuki's at his best, when he's confident and when he's just being creative and just comfortable out there doing whatever and being himself. And yeah, creating chances and capitalizing on those chances. Like I said, has 14 points in 15 games, which is above and beyond what I expected of him for the beginning of the season.
Yeah. Morgan, in terms of Poehling being tired riding public transit to Laval and will stick with the big club, I think that's what he's hoping for. I know that I'm not a big fan of traffic either, and the amount of orange cones in the Montreal city alone can drive you up a goddamn wall. So I think that's enough motivation for Ryan Poehling to stick around with a big club and hopefully stay in the Montreal Canadiens at the Bell Center, and hopefully that's the case for him. I believe in this kid, and he says all of the right things too. He's so well spoken. The way that he talks, he said the word acclimated today. I was like, whoa, okay, that's big.
It's not that big.
It's a pretty big word, not gonna lie, dude. Acclimated.
He went to college.
Use it in a sentence, dude. Show me.
I'm not yet acclimated to use the word acclimated.
There you go. That's a perfect use of the word acclimated. But yeah, that being said, Ryan Poehling, I really hope that this is, the start of something that's more permanent for him, because again, when you see an individual or a player that's bringing in the right mindset, dealing with the hurdles that is being given to him, and maybe not the most talented, elite level prospect that we'll ever have. I don't know if he's going to pan out to be a number 2C like some of us kind of projected. I'll be part of that group. I'd love to see it, but there's a lot of work to be done. There's that offensive side, there's the skating, the confidence. So there's a lot of elements, and as you get further along in your career, and it's a young man's game now, it's you have less and less time to develop your game fully before it starts becoming a question of like, all right, am I a number 2 or am I just a filler guy? So I'm hoping it's the case for him, but we'll see. Your thoughts on Ryan Poehling, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, I think he should really maybe just look to what happened with Jake Evans' career and how sometimes it takes longer, but you do eventually get there for certain players. So, I mean, that's a good example of a player that it took him until 25 to actually be an NHL regular. Ryan Poehling is only 22, I think.
Young.
Yeah. So, I mean, he is a bit of a late bloomer, but I mean, for this version of the NHL in this day and age, but yeah, I mean, I don't think you should be discouraged. Like, he's still putting up good numbers in Laval, and he was, and yeah, like, I mean, hopefully he can just stay consistent and be a good fourth line player for the Habs. And I think he can be on this roster, because there's injuries right now. There's an opportunity, so he just needs to step up, and I think he did that tonight, and hopefully he keeps it up.
Yeah, I mean, he had again to start off his season with the Montreal Canadiens for the regular season for himself. I think it was a great performance. It wasn't his debut where he scored 3 goals and then the shootout winner. I think that was Bob Cole's last game too that he called as well. Like, you can't match that, and he wasn't even drafted to be that guy, first of all. So I as Morgan is saying, it's way too early to give up on Ryan Poehling. I agree with that, but there is a realistic projection that needs to place itself without putting yourself over that and just expecting way too much out of the kid. So I'm hoping for the best for him, and he would be an important piece if he can be an effective two-way player, and I think that he has the capacity to be that. So anyways, moving on, guys. If you have anything that you want to talk about, we're here live. We're the No Respect Podcast. Again, we have a Discord server that if you guys want to join, you can. There's a couple of links in the chat right now. And again, we're missing Alex tonight, but we decided to go live regardless because we were late for this week's podcast for scheduling reasons again. But yeah, moving on. Do you think I'm going to ask this point blank? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You seem like you were locked and loaded there, ready to go.
I was just going to say, do you think is it official? Are the Habs back? And please, folks in the chat, let us know. Do you think the Habs are back? Is it too early to say? Because I'm going to write a poll question, and Justin, you go ahead and answer.
Look, in this 15 we've had 15 games so far this season, and I think I've said the Habs are back at least once so far. I'm more confident now that the Habs are back than any other time previously in the season, because it's not based on one win. I think this whole week we've been able to win those games. Like, we put the effort, and they've been honestly just fun games to watch. Like, they were exciting games. We seemed like we always had a chance in the games, and I think it's 3 very solid efforts that we put forward. And if we keep this up, I think that our group has some more confidence right now. They know that they could have won all 3 of those games, and if they keep this up, I think the Habs could be back. But I don't want to say 100% for sure, because I'm obviously going to get flamed, but no pun intended.
Listen.
But yeah.
Rocky Hockey joining us. Thank you so much. He says Suzuki has been leading the NHL in scoring since October 26th. That's a great factoid. Thank you, Rocky Hockey, and welcome aboard. Again, right now, the question was, are the Habs back? Let me give you a little update. There's probably only one vote, but 100% say yes. Okay? That's good enough for me. Okay? That's good enough for me to feel the energy, feel the juice. We are here together. And if you're here with us, it's because you're Habs fans, probably. Or if you're Flames fans, welcome aboard. This is a Habs panel. No Respect podcast, as mentioned. But all that to say, for me, if I'm going to answer that question, I think they are back, okay? And one of our voters in the chat thinks that they're back. And Justin, from what I gather, you think that they're back, okay? It's starting to barrel roll, okay? It's going like this, guys, all right? It starts with belief. Understand that your mentality is everything, okay? Understand that your fandom, your support, it's energy, it's palpable energy that the city of Montreal or wherever you are, okay, they feel it, okay? These Habs players, okay? I'm getting a little bit carried away, I know. Don't worry, it's a little bit of dramatics here at 10:47 p.m. on a Thursday night, let's not forget. But one thing that Morgan brings up that's an interesting point, because in these positives that we've seen, there has been a little bit of a lack, and we spoke about how, what's it called? Ben Sherratt is leading defense, okay, in scoring, but it should be Jeff Petry, and that's what Morgan is bringing up. Right? How can Jeff Petry be one day or during 25 games or last year close to Norris level? Or he was at Norris level. He was insane, dude. He was going crazy, skating up and down, dynamic, and it just doesn't seem to be that right now. What do you think it is? I know that's impossible. We're just speculating, but if you guys have some answers on that, we'd love to hear them. So, Justin, let's start off with you.
First of all, I mean, I have no fucking clue, because I, like you, thought that Jeff Petry would come out of a cannon at the start of the season like he did last season. I think he was at the Norris level in the first half of the season. He was in Norris talks, like, you couldn't deny it. He slowed down a bit towards the end of the season, but still. So yeah, I think he could be injured. I think a big part of it too is the fact that Joel Edmondson's not playing right now. He was a really key partner for Jeff Petry, always kind of had his back and allowed Jeff Petry to jump up in the play and do what he does best. So yeah, I think those two things are factors of why he could be having this kind of this kind of slow start to the season. But yeah, we'll see when Joel Edmondson comes back. Maybe it's going to be like magic and he'll be back to his old self. But if not, like I think he could be carrying an injury right now, because he just doesn't look like himself. So yeah, I don't know what you think about that, but
it's tough because, you know, like, obviously we know that he has all of the skill set. He's done it. Like, there's no reason. He's not slower. It's not like he's all of a sudden, you know, over the hump in terms of his career. I see the flashes. That's the thing, is that, like, it's a mental thing right now. I think that Jeff Petry still has all of the tools And there's nothing between what happened last season, unless there's an injury that's lingering from the playoffs. But at what point is it so important with the start that we've had for him to play? Like, are we that? Like, we're not going to lean on doing that on Jeff Petry. I don't think. I could be wrong, but that would be a puzzling decision. I don't want to understand why he would even say yes to that. Unless you want to be a leader for this team and just be there, I can get it. But at the same time, if the guy's not healthy, he should not be playing. So that's why it's puzzling, because you see the speed. He still has the rocket of a shot, and I think it's mental, dude. I don't know how it's going to come back, but I think that once it starts rolling, because when Shea Weber wasn't there, Jeff Petry used to take off, and then as soon as Shea Weber would come back, he would kind of drop off. Now Shea Weber hasn't been there since the beginning, and like you said, Joel Edmondson hasn't been there. He's rejoining the team relatively soon, so that's
he's rejoined the team for practices. He's not game ready yet.
Yeah, there you go. But from what I gather, it's going to be pretty soon, and I don't know exactly what the timeline is for that. But that being said, that's going to be, I think, a big piece. You know, we called him Steady Eddie for a reason last season. You know, like it's, you know, the thing about having a Romanov, or that's how you say that, right?
That is.
Because it used to be Romanov, and it's Romanov. But the thing about having a Romanov in your lineup is that when you make big lapse mistakes, or if you have a Chris Weidman that's making a little bit of a mistake here and there because he's not the defensive defenseman, it'll cost you, especially when you don't have Carey Price in nets right now. I think that Jake Allen has been doing a great job. At the end of the day, our goaltender, okay, Carey Price is getting paid $10.5 million, and he's the star of our team, or supposed to be the star of our team. So it's going to hurt if he's out. And again, we spoke about this at the beginning of the podcast. If you guys are joining us a little bit later, Carey Price releasing the statement and opening up about his substance abuse problems and all of those things, and we're wishing him the best. But from what we gather, he's back with the team, and these are things that are greatly positive. And he took a stance and opened up and was vulnerable as the role model that he is. So that being said, though, when it comes to the actual hockey product, that's all I'm talking about at this stage. It does change the dynamic of your team, and when you have a Joel Edmondson that inserts yourself into that lineup with a Carey Price, it does change the dynamic. I just don't think we understand to what extent, you know, having a guy that has veteran presence, a big guy, has some mobility, and that's just you can count on. It's important to have those pieces on your blue line, because the blue line, as we saw in the playoffs, when Travis Dermott did that spinorama thing, and then after that Jesperi Kotkaniemi snipes it, that cost you, you know, an important game. Same thing with Rasmus Sandin, which started the whole thing last season in the Toronto barn when Corey Perry smacked the shit out of him, and then Yoel Armia started fucking going. So these are things that happen, obviously not to the same extent as the playoffs. So these are things that can happen. So let me just get to the comments real quickly. Rocky Hockey, I'm loving this guy's energy. So Rocky Hockey, a huge thank you for joining us tonight. We're good. We're so early on yet, or so, Jesus Christ, sorry, it's late, guys. We are so early yet on the season. Just need a 5-game winning streak, and we are still in it. Completely agree. This is it. This is the energy I love.
5-game winning streak, and we're 9-10-1. That's 500 hockey, baby.
We can deal with that. Joseph Berniquez joins us. Thank you, Joseph. Trading Sherratt for a first-round pick at the deadline is not crazy right now. To get return, and if we're out of the playoffs, I'm saying yes, dude. I'm saying yes.
We'll see where we're at.
Big Ben. Yeah, we'll see. But if you get, listen to me. Ben Sherratt, if he keeps going like this, dude, you're not going to get more value for Ben Sherratt than if he gets 10 goals this season. He's at 4. That's pretty crazy, dude. Okay.
Ben Ovechkin.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
That was,
Morgan, the idea of Sherratt and Kulak leading the D is unsettling. I mean, that's some of the problem right now. You know, like that's why Jeff Petry is supposed to be leading that squad, and you feel a little bit better about that. Rocky Hockey, don't want to put pressure on Price, but he needs to come back soon with his playoff form if we want to make a major turnaround. I don't think with Allen we can rack up wins for the long term. Again, we know how important Carey Price is to this group, but he's dealing with his personal issues, and you can't rush those things because at the end of the day, it's just a game, In terms of Seattle knowing Price's issues, I would doubt it. I mean, I think they were maybe taken aback in terms of all the surgeries that he had to deal with, and of course the cap hit in the pandemic world. I think that's mainly that. And again, this is news to us, but we're also speculating. We're just
that's an interesting point, though. That's
yeah.
But I mean,
there was a lot of surgery, and there's a lot of the cap already that was a barrier. So
exactly.
I think that was enough to stop them too. But yeah. That being said, guys, 8%.
I have
yes, by the way, to the question.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw 80 said yes. The Habs are back.
Yeah.
So I guess the Habs are back. The Habs are back.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. I think you are, honestly.
I was gonna say I have some random headlines from the week. If you want to do a quick, just like around the league,
a little roundabout.
Yeah,
let's do it.
So the Arizona Coyotes, being 1-11-1, are now on pace to have the worst season in NHL history. Do you think they do it?
Well, listen, I thought that's what the Montreal Canadiens were headed for not too long ago. But after this week, I can't say that I am. And right now, as we said, the Habs are back, baby. The bandwagon is rolling. But for the Yotes, man, I don't think that many. I'm kind of speaking out of my ass here, but I don't think that there's that many people that care about hockey in Arizona. But they're just, I don't know what they're doing, man, to be honest. But maybe there's a fan here that can tell me that they're on a good track. I know that they drafted Barrett Hayden, Clayton Keller. They've got some pieces. They went for it at some point. Jacob Chychrun is nuts. I'll give you that.
He's had a terrible start to the season this season, but
listen, we're Montreal Canadiens fans. If you want to talk about terrible starts this season, we could be there. But all this to say, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It's good. But all this to say is that the Yotes, man, like, they've been rebuilding for how long? Since John Chayka took over?
I mean, since they've been a team.
And wasn't he 12 when he took the GM position, dude?
Yeah.
He's like, the Yotes hire the youngest GM in NHL history. 10 years later, they're still tanking, and it was all based off math, apparently. You can't build a team off math, You can't build it just off of just, character, of course. That's the second part of that argument. But there's a juste milieu, les amis. There's a juste milieu. And I think that for the Yotes, man, like, remember when Shane Doan was on that team? Like, it's just not the same, dude. Like that. I remember the Yotes, and they have sick jerseys, man. It would be a cool story to see the Yotes be nuts again.
Yeah, I mean, going through the years, like they've had players on their team, like they've gone kind of like, oh, we're gonna make a playoff push, and then we're like, oh man, we're gonna go back to tanking. But they've had like Max Domi is like. Was a good prospect, and then like it turned out to be a decent NHLer. They had Anthony Duclair, who was a great prospect, like you said, Clayton Keller. For more veterans, they had Taylor Hall a couple years ago. Phil Kessel, he should be good, but
they made it to the playoffs, dude. They made it to
the
it was the first
Western
round,
Conference
right?
Finals.
Well, how long ago though?
In 2014, I think. Or 2012.
Really?
Yeah, and they lost to LA, and then LA beat the Devils.
Okay. But you see, that's it. That's my point. Like it's things like that, and it's been so long, dude. It's just been so long for them. So,
but that's next. Sorry, I'm just to finish on. This is like the main argument to not tank, because even if you do tank, you can get unlucky in the draft, or things just don't go your way. You don't get the first overall pick and pick Austin Matthews. And yeah, that's the trouble with tanking. It's not a foolproof strategy.
No, but speaking of tanking, Rocky Hockey says if they can pick up both Wright and Bedard, they would be good to go after that. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
That was
Bedard
the silver lining
insane.
in how Bedard is going to be yeah, he's. I saw one. I don't know if I sent you the goal, but there's one goal that he scored recently, dude. Holy, dude. There's like a backhand in there. It was nasty. So yes, I do think that if they get both of them, but again, the tank is still not foolproof, because at one point you look at how Jack Eichel was handled in Buffalo, and he left. I'm gonna tell you right now, I think Austin Matthews is going to the Yotes, so it's
100%.
gonna happen. The guy wants to represent it. It's gonna happen. So the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're gonna have John Tavares and Mitch Marner, but Austin Matthews, I think, is leaving. No disrespect if you're a Leafs fan, I just think that's what's gonna happen. I think so. I could be wrong. Keep on going. Morgan brings up Josh Anderson's contract, making him untradeable. At this stage, I think it's way too early to say that. He's still a very effective hockey player, and I know that the number might scare people and the term, but the thing is that, and put myself in the context of post-pandemic, which we're starting to get to, all right? Slowly but surely, of course, we're not out of the woods, but I put myself in that context and how the cap will start to go back up. And I think by the end of that contract, you're not looking at something that's too horrific. And already that he's not your typical power forward, in the sense that he's really about speed. Now, the injuries might play into that, and if he continues to stay banged up and stuff, I know that's a part of his game, so it is a good point. Though I don't believe that it's that bad of a contract, given the context that we're getting back into it. So a great question though, Morgan. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I agree. Especially in the couple of years, like when the cap does go up, 5.5 is not going to be a lot. Is not going to be a ton of money. So I don't think he's untradeable. But I also think he's more there to like get rush chances and score. So I don't think he's been doing too badly. I think he's kind of a product of the rest of the team doing badly. But yeah.
Yeah. No, but he's out of everyone bringing energy. That it's Josh Anderson, man. He's brought speed. He's hitting, and again, you can't chalk up any of the losses to Josh Anderson's performance. Like he's still putting up some points, and he's not there to be the. He's not going to give you like 20,000 assists in a season. It's never going to happen. But he will give you impact. I think energy is important to a squad. It leads the group. We talk about emotional leaders, and sometimes that emotion can come from what you deliver. That's not goals and assists. And I think Josh Anderson hits all of those boxes. And all of the playoff teams that we've played against that are successful, and not just the Habs, but all of those teams that have won something have those types of guys. And Josh Anderson is one of the more elite types of guys in that category, a power forward. It's good to have those. So, but again, great question. Moving on. I mean, I don't know if there's anything related to the Habs we want to touch else. The fact that they're back, we've got a spark. You're here, episode 5 with the No Respect podcast. A huge thank you for joining us for a live show here. We should be scheduling these a little bit more ahead of time. This was again, a little bit last minute and unprepared. So thank you again for joining us. For those of you who are here with us on a Thursday night at 11, God bless you. But all that to say, you can follow us at No Respect Podcast if you guys like, on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, of course. Again, this helps us, just kind of support the channel, interact with us, likes and subscriptions, dude. I don't really know what the benefit is for you, but it just helps our channel. That's all that is. So if you guys see yourselves enjoying the content more than anything, it's a button, and if you don't want to do it, I get it. That being said, guys, moving on, the Habs schedule this week. Unless you guys have any other questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. That's the point, That's the point of this chat. If you have anything else that we want to cover here at 11:04 on a Thursday night, you let us know. But if not, we can get into the schedule. Do you have the schedule?
No. Yeah, I do.
Okay, great.
So I guess we're going to do games. We have Saturday against the Red Wings once again, which is the third meeting so far this season. Saturday against Red Wings, Sunday against the Bruins. It's been a while since we played the Bruins. That's going to be fun.
That's going to be good. Yeah.
And then we have Tuesday against the Rangers, then Thursday against the Penguins. I don't know if I guess we'll do all 4 of those ones. Since it's Thursday today, we'll do a full week. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you were nodding or...
No, I'm also reading the comments.
Okay,
so that's why.
sorry.
Sorry.
All right, so are we doing this? We're going through comments or?
Yeah. Sorry. I thought you were going with the prediction. Sorry. So Rocky Hockey saying, I don't think Anderson is such a bulldozer entering the zone. One of the fastest and biggest player combined in the league. I don't think he's a PP guy, though he lacks a bit of hockey IQ and hands. Again, you don't always have the full kit bag when you go into the league. And Josh Anderson, I don't think is the perfect hockey player by all means. I do think that he brings value to this team. But yeah, Morgan saying, citing the possible future of the salary cap and emotions that can't be measured by stats isn't a great argument for Anderson's contract. Maybe so, but I mean, that's a little bit of why it's a controversial topic in the sense that a GM that understands maybe the behind the scenes. I know that Marc Bergevin places a lot of importance in terms of emotions, and the future of salary cap I think does go into the decision, because at the end of the day, if you know that the salary cap is going up and they have the projections and they have the news of the league, doesn't mean that you're wrong. Like, it could be that it ends up being a case where the salary cap doesn't go higher than I think it might go, because we're starting to get into that zone. But that's a good point, Morgan.
But I also just think that, like, Josh Anderson, he's got 17 goals in 52 games last season. That's on pace for 26 goals in an 82 game season. I don't think that's so far off on a $5.5 million player. Like, I think that's par for the course, and that's what we're paying for. So, I mean, yeah. And I think the energy and, like, the intangible stuff just comes on top of it. And, like, when he's not necessarily scoring or putting up points, that's just something else that he brings in his game. So it's not like he's only bringing that, and that's why we gave him the contract. It's just kind of an added bonus to it.
True. But from what I gather, Morgan, you may not be the biggest Anderson fan, and that's totally fine. Like, I think that there are some arguments. How can you not
love his hair though and his beauty?
He's gorgeous. He's gorgeous, Morgan. Come on. No, but I can understand maybe the skeptics on that. I personally think that there's a presence that comes with that type of guy. But again, everybody's entitled to their opinion when it comes to this stuff. And what the hell do we know, right? At the end of the day, we're the No Respect podcast, though. So if you guys want to join our Discord, we've got the link in the chat. If you guys want to join it, again, all of this is great discussion. I love this stuff. It's good to have the back and forth. It teaches you things. It gives you perspective. So I love it. So yeah, back to the games. Can you repeat the games that you just mentioned? What was it? Sorry.
So on
all this
Saturday,
Josh Anderson talk.
I
love it.
It's okay. On Saturday we're playing the Red Wings. Sunday the Bruins. On Tuesday we're playing the Rangers, and then on Thursday we're playing the Penguins. So all American week.
All American. Okay.
And I believe the first 3 games are on the road, and then the big game against Pittsburgh is at home.
Okay. So Pittsburgh's the last one.
Yeah.
Boston is the first one. What's the middle one? Sorry,
no, sorry. You've totally messed this up. It's Detroit is on Saturday. Try and follow here. Sunday is Boston.
This is the last time we played Detroit, actually. Yeah. Sorry. Sunday is
Boston.
Okay.
Then Tuesday is the Rangers. And then Thursday is the Penguins.
Yeah.
So
I'm going 4-0, baby. Okay. It starts with we've got Carl Prochalski, who's in our Discord. Sorry, and he said that thinks that it's the time for a 6-game point streak. It's starting tonight. Okay, so I believe in Carl. It started actually last night, or the night when we lost an OT against LA. So I'm with Carl. I believe in the Habs right now, and if I fall flat, so be it, guys. I love this team, and I'm starting to see something. Okay, I'm starting to see that juice. It's all about juice this week. We should change the episode name to Juice, okay? Because the Habs have it now. Jake Evans, did you see that goal this week, dude? You think he's not going to be doing that on a nightly basis? He might not. But the point is that I think it's going to be a positive week, all right? a juice, a single juice is the difference in our podcast name now. But yeah, no. What about you? What do you think? And what do you guys think? Let us know what your predictions are in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can beat the Red Wings. We kind of had their number this season so far. So I'm saying win against the Red Wings, Sunday against the Bruins. It's going to be intense. It's going to be a good game against the Bruins, a good old game against them. So I'm hoping Pizzetta kind of gets under some Bruins a skin there, and we get a good rough and tough game there. So we're going to beat the Bruins, obviously. Rangers have looked pretty good so far this season. I think we can maybe drop that one. And yeah, the Penguins going through injury trouble, but they still kind of they're slowly getting their players back. So yeah, I'll say we'll beat the Penguins too. So 3-1 for me.
3-1. Okay, well that's a more realistic take, but what's going to happen is going to be 4-0. So again, guys, it's late tonight. It's 11:11 on Thursday night. Thank you so much for joining us, the No Respect podcast. We're missing Alex, but we'll be back next week. We're going to let the week go by after maybe these 4 games and come back with you, who knows, with another live stream. I think we're going to keep this format for now. We enjoy the energy. We enjoy the interaction. Huge thank you to Rocky Hockey, Morgan Burton. We had Joseph. We had, who else? Sorry if I'm missing you. Mark Anthony, who came to Montreal last week, as I mentioned at the top of the show. We had Elias. So thank you so much for
Steven Saint as well.
Oh, Steven Saint, correct. I was scrolling way too fast, but thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've got, again, another episode that'll come out next week. All of the socials that are down low, the links to the Discord if you guys want to join in. Again, just feed us comments, guys. Just feed us the comments. My name is Mackie. This is Justin. And again, we make the No Respect podcast, Missing Alex tonight. And we always remind you to respect the
Orgasm Nation.
Have a great night. Bonne soirée. And go. Habs go. We're back, baby. Episode 5, the juice, dude. So much juice.
Nick Suzuki.
So much juice.
Let's go.
Love it. Thank you, Rocky Hockey. You said we have chemistry, Justin.
Oh, wow.
Cute. Love it.
That's
Thank
very
you, Rocky
cute.
Hockey. And thank you, everybody else.
All right.
Have a good one.
Good
Ciao.
night.